up guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Check this pack out. This is a 20S 14p pack of Samsung 26F cells, I think they are. So this is like a 36.4 amp hour pack. Crazy. Anyway guys, the long story is I went to Insat, you've probably seen that on the last video, met up with Jimmy and we made this pack. Well, he made, but it was already half done, but we kind of finished this pack up because this is the replacement pack to my original Samsung 30Q cell pack. Like it was this was for the original e-bike build, and I did another video on that as well. It's a 20S 10p pack. And it was the pack I was using on the e-bike, but I destroyed it because I think we were charging at too high rates, and I was peaking at really high rates, and there was a period of time where it wasn't using a BMS and all this kind of stuff. You know what I'm like, I just destroy batteries, don't I? But anyway, this is the replacement pack out of goodwill. It wasn't Insat's fault. They created this pack, or he knocked this pack up for me out of some cells that he had lying around, or pre-part built packs that were kind of already there. So that's what that is. I mean, this is a little bit too big for the bike. It's quite heavy as well. I could fit it in the bike, but I'm thinking maybe I will just use this as a backup pack. Meanwhile, what I'm thinking is I could use this pack because it's such a high energy pack. It's like a 3 kilowatt hour pack. So I'm thinking what I could do is use this to power this bad boy. If you've not seen this before, this is a 72 volt inverter. It's Chinese, it's questionable whether it's actually going to do what it says it does. But what I was trying to do is trying to find a 72 volt inverter that, you know, supposedly has 6,000 watts. I mean, you know, you can believe what you believe on these things, but I mean, even if it's half that, it'll be perfect for what I want to do, which is actually to try and make a range extender for the Twizy to kind of extend, you know, the runtime. I can't do it whilst I'm actually, you know, I can't connect anything whilst it's running. I would have to use it as a charger. So basically, if you're in an area where there isn't a charger, then you could just, you know, plug this in. I mean, this is not going to be big. This is, you know, that will fit on the back seat easily. The inverter will, you know, just strap on the side of it or whatever. And I could use this to basically just charge the car when there's no charge point around. Maybe get like an extra 10, 15 miles or something. And then on the other side of it, it can be used for other things as well, like high power running God knows what, but basically running things in the house if there's a power cut. Yeah, so the plan today is to actually test this on this inverter. I've got most of the stuff done. I've got the main leads, well, I've got one lead soldered on. I need to solder another lead on there. I've got all this nice stuff down here. Got a 200 amp fuse in there. Got a little connector block. I'm using the wires that came with the inverter. They're not too bad, and they're pretty thick. They're solid copper by the looks of things. And yeah, I'm just going to rig it up. So on this battery you can see all the lovely copper interconnects on here. We've actually put balancing connectors on, and this is set up for the BMS that I've been using in the bike. So we can actually just plug it into that BMS on the bike, or just plug it into another BMS. I've actually got another BMS coming, which I'm going to use specifically for this battery. So we'll have a complete, you know, a nicely finished pack. I'm also going to stick it in here as well. This is like well, it's actually like a lead acid sort of battery box, but perfect, like pretty cheap. So I'm going to stick that in there, rig it up to this inverter, and we'll see what smoke happens. Right, so I've got the other connection on. I just soldered them. This was the one I was trying to do, and what I've just thought, I'm going to actually, this is for the negative. So on the end of these main leads, I've got ring terminals which basically go over, fit on here, on each side. I'm using this as like a joiner, and then we've got like a fused one there, so it's all sort of properly done. It's the same sort of stuff I've been using in there, like on the power rack. All kind of big high current chunky stuff with like screw terminals. It's the best way to do the high power stuff. So what I've done though is I've actually cut this wire. This is one of the wires that comes with it. You can see the cable's actually pretty good. It's like multi-strand, but very kind of thick kind of strands. What I'm going to do is stick one of these power pole connectors on either side, because otherwise, once I've screwed all this up, I've got no way of turning this on and off. There is like an on and off button there, I think it is, but I'm not going to trust that to turn it on and off. But meanwhile, whilst I'm waiting for the other BMS to turn up, because I've got another BMS the same as the other one, I'm just going to kind of connect it up and test it out, because I just want to, you know, see what happens, basically. But when the BMS turns up, I will then put the BMS will basically go on the negative wire. So if I stick some connectors on now, it enables me to turn it off, you know, by just disconnecting these leads and disconnecting everything. And then, you know, when the BMS arrives, I can just put these connectors on the BMS, and then I can stick the BMS in between, which will be a good solution, I think. But I've already broken one pair of snips cutting this cable because it's so blooming thick. Right, other side done. One of the biggest helps, guys, I've had with doing all this large connector stuff is the heat gun. So the heat gun, this one goes up to, I don't know, like 480 degrees. It's like a reflow station, really. And then you kind of use the soldering iron, which is, don't know what is this soldering iron is. It isn't massively high. It goes up to about 400 degrees. It could do with going a bit hotter. But for doing the big stuff, if you combine like a heat gun and a soldering iron, you know, you can get these jobs done. These sort of, you know, big connectors and the size of the thickness of that copper wire, and then that connector as well. You know, you're just not going to get that done with just like a little soldering iron, a little rework station. You need something pretty heavy duty. I might invest in a bigger iron actually. Look at this battery, guys, it's just ridiculous. All these cells. But that is a lot of cells right there. Anyway, I'm going to put the pack in this box. If it didn't have all my car washing stuff in it, it would help. Right, at a moment then I thought it wasn't going to fit. It does fit. It's very tight in there, like literally it wouldn't go any tight. You couldn't have that any tighter basically. And I've stuck some foam around the edge just to kind of pad it out. I'm going to probably do this properly, but that's it. Yeah, battery. So room for the BMS on top once that comes, and I'm going to use the display, I think, and do something with this. But yeah, I'll stick these on the top, and you've got your positive, negative lead out there. So good to go. Positive side, nice chunky 200 amp mega fuse in there. Just got to tighten that up. Right, it's all wired up. All I've got to do is connect that, and then there'll be smoke. But first of all, one last check. I want to check the voltage, the total voltage coming on here, which I don't think I'm going to be able to do with the camera in my hand. Right, so it's at 84 volts, over 84. I think it's like 84.2. So each cell is like 4.2 something, like, so they're as far charged as they can be. A bit too far charged for my liking, but they are, you know, all individual cells were charged individually, I think. So that's how it's kind of ended up. Anyway, time for the bang. Ready to rock. That's pretty uneventful. Right, so let's try turning it on then. Just push this in. Ooh. 230 volts. What does this do? 84.4 volts. DC, AC voltage, AC watts. That's quite good. Mode 1. What does that mean? Okay, I'll just have to play around with this and see what happens. Voltage has come down a bit. First thing I'm going to test is what the actual load, no load current is on the battery lead. So trusty clamp meter over the end of there. 200, 300 milliamps, 200 milliamps. That doesn't seem too bad. Right, now we need to find something I don't care about too much that I can plug into it, because I don't want to blow up something for no reason. About the induction hob. Let's try and boil some water and see what happens. Right, the fans have started running. It's saying 500 watts. What's my voltage saying? Oh, so it'll be 81.2. So that's sort of fine. 500 watts solid. Let's see what the current is going out. 7 amps for 500 watts. It's not a lot, is it? It's not a lot at all. You know, when you're used to running on like 12 or 24 volts, it's like, you know, 30, 40 amps or something to do that. But 7 amps, I'm gonna run that all day. That's if this doesn't blow up. Right, still going, guys. Now it's gonna take a while to boil that. So far, it's a 500 watt inverter. I really want to try it on the car. Right, so I just turned it off. Fans are still going. That plug does feel pretty loose in there. I don't like these sockets that can actually see the connectors there. I want to test it on the car, but I need to take some power out of the car first. Alright, let's burn 10% off the car. Right, 10% done. Well, let's give it a whirl. Nervous? Only kidding, I didn't connect these. doing something. 2,111 watts. Charging at 32 amps. Whoa. So we've gone down to 75 volts, up to 80 volts. It's like pulsing up and down there. 228 volts going in on the mains, 2 kilowatts going in. It's been getting warm. Right, I'm going to run and get my amp clamp to see what the actual current is. I'm expecting 35 amps. What do you reckon? 30 amps? God, it's more efficient than I thought. Still going 79 volts. It goes down to like 74. I think that says it's just pulsing, but basically 74. But if we said 74 volts, divide that by 20, it's going to give you basically 3.7. So the cells are just sitting at 3.7 volts, which obviously they're just going to do that all day. It's no problem at all. 84% still going up. I mean, this is just stone cold. There's no heat on there at all. About 30 amps now, so the voltage has really dropped a little bit. The current's kind of gone up a little bit. So that's basically over an hour of charging from this. I'm pretty excited about this. 90%. It's getting proper dark now. It's still going. This is just going to keep going forever. Right, so it is completely finished. And we are on 100%. So just turn that off. Battery voltage has gone down. So it's now saying, it says about 76. Right, as usual, it's a day later. It works. I mean, what can I say? It actually works. I mean, you know, you kind of expect with these things, you know, you work it out and you think, oh, is it going to work? Is it going to blow up, or what's going to happen here? But I think the key to this is actually the fact that it's a 72 volt inverter. So your current is a lot lower, like sort of 2,000 watts. It's peaking at like 29 amps. So, I mean, that's just brilliant. So with a 36 amp hour battery, I mean, that's going to last probably over an hour. So interesting stuff. So what I've got to do now, because I'm going to kind of make this a little bit more kind of permanent now, because I need to work out a way of securing the inverter on the top and putting the BMS in there. The BMS still hasn't arrived yet. Got another one coming for that, so I need to put that in there and configure it. I need to put a charge socket on there. I don't know how much I took out of this battery, and I'll be able to find that out if I can get a charge socket put on there, which I've actually got now. This turned up today. Just another one, so I'm standardising on the same sort of stuff as I've got on the e-bike. That's the e-bike one there, same. And I'm just going to put this on the outside of the box down there somewhere, so we can actually charge it with the same system as I'm using to charge the bike. You know, it's going to be a slow charger. It's probably going to take like 7 hours or something to charge to charge up this battery on that cycle satiator. But hey, you know, if you don't need it in a hurry, and also that means I can actually charge it off of solar as well, so you know, that would be good. Anyway, I'm going to get this charge socket put in, and then we can actually kind of get this thing charged up and start to make it more of an actual finished product. Right, so charge connectors on, and I've gone for these again. Basically use these ring terminals because then you can actually fit them straight onto where the fuse goes, basically after the fuse, and then I've got this connection block thing here as well. Right, so this is the lid of the box. I'm just going to mount this there basically, so you've got a nice access point for the charge connector. And to do that, I'm just going to whack one of these on. Right, it's on, guys. I'm just going to whack a bit of hot glue on the back of these little screws because I haven't got any nuts. Oh, I need to make a new battery for this. 4 18650s, that's all it is. I just need to make one. Right, everything's wired up. I've got my charge lead going in, positive going to there, to the obviously to that fuse. So the fuse is the other side of it, just in case anything happens. So the charging side's fused basically. And then that little junction box. I like these little junction boxes because they're just basically insulated. Well, I think apart from that one. It's, you know, they're insulated, so you can actually kind of just, you know, have these things knocking around, and not too much problem. But I will mount these properly once I get the BMS in there and all that, and I'll sort of do that properly. But for now, I think I'll just stick a bit of tape over the bottom of that to stop that. Nothing's really going to happen. They're like kind of inset, aren't they? But moment of truth then. there you go. We have a charger. I did check the balance leads before I plugged the charger in, and basically it's still completely in balance. So it's just, you know, it's madness. But I will keep an eye on these balance connectors, because you never know. As it's charging, should never really kind of just leave it to fate. And here's the balance leads. Just poked them out the side for the minute. Once I get the BMS, all will be good. But until that point, I'm gonna have to monitor those. Okay, so I did another check on the meter. I didn't video it, but basically all of them are 3.9. They're 3.9. Some go as high as about 3.94. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. Just let it charge. I'll probably pop back inside for an hour and yeah, come back. Hopefully the ship won't have burnt down. It's chucked in an amp hour already, so there you go. It's going to take a while though, isn't it? Right, so it's finished charging. I actually left it, kind of did like lots of little intermittent charges actually, just while I was keeping an eye on it whilst I was in here. Most of it I've actually done using solar power as well, so which is pretty good. But I think probably in total, I didn't really keep a proper record, but I don't know, it's probably something like 20 or 25 amp hours, something like that I kind of put back into it. Anyway, I need to pop out today and I'm going to go out in the Twizy. I need to go and meet one of my friends because he's chucking me a bunch of LED lights. He's just got surplus LED lights, which is just nuts. But anyway, it's about 15 miles away, which is fine for the Twizy. Obviously I can get there, get back, no problems at all. But I'm going to actually sort of do a couple of detours, probably pop to some other shops, do a couple of errands, other errands, and what better way to check this power supply out and see if it actually does the job. Because the first place I'm going to doesn't have a charge point. The main town bit does. But it's always a pain, because sometimes you don't want to be in that bit, and you can't really walk easily from one bit to the other. So here is the perfect kind of use case for this battery pack. If you want to go somewhere where there isn't a charge point and you do need a charge point, you know what you're going to do. So that's the plan. It's all strapped up. I've just kind of done a temporary job, just strapping it all together, just with some cable ties and stuff like that, and it's not going anywhere. But on the back seat, this should be fine, just sitting there, and hopefully it won't blow up and send me down the road flying. It's not heavy, this thing, but it's not light, if that makes sense. Right guys, so because I've got a little bit more power to play with, I'm going to go on the motorway. Actually pull out. Let me come out, that'd be a good thing. Yeah, I'm going to go on the motorway, which normally I would go the back ways, just, you know, to kind of not use as much power, but I'm just going to do the motorway. So I'm also going to turn regen off. Turning regen off completely when you come off the brake is better for motorways, because basically you want to be able to coast. If you kind of come off the throttle when you're kind of on a motorway, you don't want to be braking. That sort of regen is not really a very good idea. Also, it means you can slipstream cars and stuff like that, or you know, get behind trucks, big lorries, things like that to, you know, help your power efficiency. Right, nearly there, guys. 41%. That's taken a lot more than it normally does. Normally, I'm at about 70% when I get to this place, but just going on the motorway is taking it down to like 40, so it just shows you. Right, I'm here guys. Oh look, it's a golf course. The Twizy and its Sevcon controller is right at home on a golf course. Yes guys, this is my golf cart. It's brilliant. Right, I'm just going to stick the car on charge. So we've got it in the back there. Nothing's moved on the way. I think I've belted it in, so it's all right. So fire up the inverter. See there. So let's plug it in.
So that's ready. You then get the cable and then plug it in, and
normally this cable would just go straight into a
13 amp socket.
Straight into the 13 amp socket, but
right.
if you it is, yeah. So we'll stick it in there, and then you should,
and then it all fires up there, so it's charged.
There you are. So it's saying 2 kilowatts going out.
Yeah.
And the car is actually charging, so...
Oh, you're only on 31%, you wouldn't make that. What the fuck is that?
Right, still going guys. We've got Right, to 53% now, so I'm going to make a move in a minute. But the main thing with this is that I've just been standing here talking for, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes. And rather than just wasting that time, it's actually doing something, it's charging it up. Whereas if I was parked here normally, I'd be chatting away, but you know, the car wouldn't be charging because there's no charge point here. So that's the good thing. Right, next stop, I'm somewhere else now. Stuck it back on charge again. And we're back on 16%. Yeah, so the verdict is, I mean, it works. I mean, you can charge the car whilst you're not near a charge point. You can use this power to top it up whilst you're, you know, parked up and doing what you want to do. And I think really, I mean, it's probably maybe like 40%. It'll probably put 40% in the car. So for the size of it, I mean, it really isn't bad. Now, the fact that I've got these cells for basically free, and all I've done really is just pay for this inverter, which could be used for other things as well. If you were to make this out of brand new cells, it probably cost you quite a lot because of the cell prices, you know, are still quite high for 18650s. But you know, if you recycled some cells, you could probably make something similar for virtually nothing, and then all you'd have to do is buy this inverter. But as a proof of concept, I just think it's awesome. It's really good. So I'm gonna, once I get the BMS in there, I'll be able to see exact numbers and all that sort of stuff. And you know, you really start to sort of get a clear idea of what's coming out and what this battery actually holds. But yeah, as a little range extender for the Twizy or any other car that's got a small battery like some of the older EVs, brilliant. But anyway guys, that's going to be it for this one. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been one of those journeys where, you know, you kind of start off on something and you kind of get somewhere else, which is kind of what it's all about. I'm loving doing all this sort of stuff at the moment. Hope you enjoyed it too. And yeah, don't forget, check out my Instagram, my Twitter, all of that stuff. I'm constantly posting on there, all the new stuff I'm messing around with. Soon we will have something to do with these cells as well. But until then, catch you in the next video.